Canadian ice wine, a staple for our economy and our culture. Enjoying the holidays, a nice drink with the family, that sounds good. Well, that's pretty much coming to an end with Trudeau's new alcohol tax. And guess what? I suspect even more taxes coming, and this is why. Inflation, inflation, inflation. It's all we hear about. We see it everywhere we go with gas prices, food prices, everything you see. But alcohol has had even more inflation because Trudeau's putting a new tax on alcohol. See, he wants Canadians to be healthier and to try and dissuade them from buying so much alcohol. A valiant effort. But bro, do you know who lives up in fucking Sudbury? Do you know who lives in northern Alberta? Those guys love alcohol. The reality is that alcohol is so much cheaper in other countries, specifically Europe. Every time we go traveling, which is every fall, our family goes to somewhere in Europe, and the food and the alcohol is so cheap. Like, beer is cheaper than water. I'm not even exaggerating. Now they upcharge water, especially if you want that flat mineral water. You know what I'm talking about if you travel to Europe. I don't want the sparkling. I just want some normal fucking water. That costs so much money, and beer is cheaper than that. Same thing with a glass of wine. It's crazy. And in the US, closer to home, how accessible alcohol is. You can buy it at any 7-Eleven, basically any convenience store, any grocery store. You don't have to go to a liquor store like we do in Canada. Now, that might be good, might be bad to have the alcohol separate for minors. It's easier to check who's buying the alcohol. I get it, Canada, I get it. But the reality is, alcohol is so much more expensive in Canada than it is in other countries around the world. Now, I don't know if you knew this stat because I certainly didn't before we made this video, but iced wine is a huge industry in Canada. It's a $35 billion industry here. Yeah, billion with a B, bro. So the reality is, if Trudeau's going to be imposing taxes on alcohol, raising the price of wine, it's going to dissuade people from buying more wine or maybe buying something else. So in reality, this is a lost revenue stream, reduced income that these wine companies are going to have. It's just a reality. Same thing with beer, same thing with Smirnoff. I don't know. Every alcohol company in Canada is going to get dinged from this for sure. But let's be real. Who's going to be the one to get dinged the most? It's going to be the mamas, baby. The mamas who like to drink the wine after a hard day's work. Not going to be good. Now, the consequence from this, because remember, every single time a government makes an action, a policy, a regulation, there's an equal unintended consequence. And that unintended consequence is going to be that more people are going to start making their own alcoholic beverages. Now, this is already happening. We already see this. For example, my in-laws pay some guy to make their own wine. Sometimes they make their own wine as well. It's cool. It's fun. But we're going to start seeing that more so out of necessity. People are going to start creating their own beer, their own wine at home to save some money. And again, who does this really hurt? It hurts the companies who are trying to make the alcohol in Canada, sell it to some good Canadians, get some GDP going, some revenue. They're going to get hurt ultimately the most. And some people are going to be, unfortunately, probably poisoned from their shitty alcohol. They don't know what they're doing. They don't have the right equipment, and it's going to be nasty. And this isn't just the end. This is just actually the beginning of more taxes to come. I mean, there's already a meat tax, which is why your red meat, your processed meat right now is so much more expensive than the normal inflation rise of bananas, eggs, milk. Meat is getting clobbered because Trudeau wants to make you more healthier and have you eat bugs in your protein shakes than eat meat. So there's a tax on meat, there's a carbon tax, there's a tax on the tax of the carbon tax, the HST. Like, we're just getting taxed up the ass. Now we're getting an alcohol tax. Guys, this is just the beginning, okay? Just the beginning. Now, you guys want to hear some drama? You guys want to hear the conspiracy about why exactly is Trudeau hitting the wine industry specifically? Because the wine alcohol tax is way more than just like the tax on beer or whatever. The wine is getting smoked the most. And the conspiracy going around, the drama on the street is Trudeau wants that land, baby. He wants to take that land back, drive these companies out of business. So him and his buddy Bill Gates, the biggest farmland buyer ever right now. He owns so much land, it's disgusting. He wants to start buying Canadian winery land. No. Just a conspiracy, just throwing it out there. I don't really believe it, or maybe I do. But the reality is, it's just fun to hear these crazy conspiracies from time to time. But the reality is, the wine industry is getting hit, and you're going to pay for it. Why? Shit rolls downhill. The extra cost always gets passed on to the consumer. So what's the solution? Again, this channel's all about solutions. Well, you got a few of them. One, you just make more money. You start your business, you make more money, you get more skills, and you suck it up and you pay the tax and you stay in Canada. Kind of what I'm doing for half the year. I'm just sucking it up, making more money. It is what it is. The second thing you can do is leave the country. Immigrate to the US, to Dubai, Thailand, Bali, and currency hack where your money goes so much farther. So if you're self-employed, you got some investments, you're investing in the stock market, whatever you're doing on your own, you're making that USD, you're making that Canadian, and you're going to currency hack by going to a cheaper country and living there. Now, we do this on vacation all the time. We travel a ton. Like I said, in the fall, we always go to Europe. And then in the later fall, we always go somewhere like Costa Rica, Bali, Thailand. And then, of course, for the winters, we go to our home in Naples, Florida, and escape the winter there. But I can tell you, from traveling to places like Costa Rica, Panama, Bali, etc., especially Bali, your money goes so friggin' far. It's a joke, dude. A nice plate going out to dinner every night, like a plate of dinner is like $3 Canadian. Amazing rice, vegetables, like so healthy. Smoothies are like $2. Fresh pressed juice is like $1.50 Canadian for this big 1 liter bottle. It's crazy, the currency hack availability. And the reality is more millennials and more Gen Zs, they're more tech savvy, they're younger, they're more flexible. They're taking advantage of this like crazy. I mean, we are seeing a lot of immigrants leave Canada, those that came from India, China, all around the world with promises from the Canadian government of living this amazing Canadian dream life. We see a lot of them leaving. That's already been documented, and we made a video about that. But what we're also seeing is Canadian-born young people, millennials and Gen Z, saying, yo, I'm out of here. The Canadian dream was a lie. I can't afford a home. I can't even afford rent. I'm out of here. I'm going to go live somewhere in South America, Central America. I'm going to go live in Bali. And that's just becoming more of the norm, which is a huge problem because those are the people we need. We need the young people to join the workforce, to add to the GDP, to help pay for the social security of the older boomers who are now retired. Who's going to pay for the boomers? Okay, we are, the millennials and Gen Zs. But if everybody's piecing out and leaving, changing their lifestyle, who's going to pay for the pensions? Who's going to pay for Dude, that's why you never rely on a pension. You make your own pension. You invest in real estate. You start a business. You invest in the stock market. Maybe you invest in crypto, whatever you're going to do. But dude, don't ever work for a fucking company and thinking, oh, when I'm 65, I'm going to get that pension. That company might not be even around by the time you're 65. And get this, Canadians and people in North America are living longer. The average life is 82 years old. By the time we millennials, get to our 80s, honestly, the average lifespan's probably going to be like 95 years old, 100, with technology and pills and magic potions and Elon Musk doing his Neuralink who can like solve any problem you have probably. The reality is millennials and Gen Zs are probably realistically going to live well into their 90s to 100 years old. So if we're retiring at 65, that's like 30, 40 years of social security, of pensions. Who's paying for that, dude? This is a whole video on its own. I would not rely on a pension or government welfare or whatever, social security, when we're old. Because I think that's going to go bye-bye. By the time we millennials, I'm 35 right now, by the time I'm fucking 65, you know what the world is going to change in the next, 30, 40 years? That's crazy. All these big companies, all the big staples, WestJet, Air Canada, all these companies with their magic pensions, they're probably not even going to be in business. Who knows? And that pension that you're so relying on, bye-bye. When that company goes bankrupt, see ya. And then what are you going to do? You didn't invest in real estate. You didn't invest in the stock market. You didn't invest in anything. You just live life for Friday. What am I doing on the weekend? Who am I hanging out? What the fuck are you doing? Okay, this channel is all about getting wealthy so we don't have to be annoyed with an alcohol tax, with a wine tax, with a dude, who cares? I don't care about that. I got investments going on. I'm good, dude. I don't care about a fucking wine tax. That's where I want you to get. Anyway, if you like this video, subscribe, hit that like button. I will see you in the next rant.